Hello and welcome. I am Antiderivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations, and I'm here reviewing episodes 9 and 10 of the Orville, and also putting it on Twitter here. Called Cupid's Dagger and Firestorm. I'm joined here today with Pop Culture Curator. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Hello, everybody. Hello, Jill. Thank you for having me on.
You're
I'm
welcome.
excited. Oh, I'm always excited, but I literally am. So I'm not just saying that.
Oh yeah, I believe you. Yeah, me too.
It's interesting because when
So
I
I'm
watch these episodes,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say when I watch these episodes, I end up liking them more than I did the first time around. So I'm getting renewed appreciation. So thank you.
I feel that way too. I think the first time I watched this through, I was convinced that I wasn't going to like it because well, somebody's trying to do Star Trek, so you automatically want to be critical of it. But he gets it. Seth
Yeah, I
gets it.
definitely enjoy it.
So I'm reviewing 2 episodes of the Orville every week on Tuesday at noon Central, sometimes just a little later. We're done with the episodes. We'll have finished the first episode of the Orville season 3 on Hulu. I'm reviewing the Orville because it's unclear whether or not we'll have a season. There are a lot of questions about that. So when there were a lot of questions about whether Star Trek would have season 3, letter writing campaign led by B. Joe Trimble, and that earned the fans season 3 of Star Trek. So I figured this show could be my digital letter writing campaign. And since I still love it and want a season 4, I believe others do too. And in my reviews, I leave out a lot of the really great jokes, unless they're important to the plot or have a basis in science fiction. So I really encourage you guys to go check these episodes out. Anyway, before we get started, I wanted to say happy First Contact Day for the 735 Club who appreciate all of real Star Trek from 1966 to 2005. And even though Voyager might not be my favorite, I saw this little celebration that Neelix put on. That's a little bit fun. So I'm gonna play it today since
Very
today's First
cool.
Contact Day. And then Neelix does some more dancing. Um, that's so happy First Contact Day. That's great.
Absolutely.
So today's first episode is Cupid's Dagger, and this episode aired in the U.S. on November 9th, 2017. And it was written by Liz Heldens and directed by Jamie Babbitt. And the Orville's particular obsession with the 20th century rock and roll continues once again because it's karaoke night. And Kelly is singing Any Way You Want It by Journey. And then we cut to what we've been waiting for since Majority Rule, when Borda says that he can sing. Oh yeah, there's that guy. And he tells everyone to be silent because they're cheering for him.
Right. He doesn't understand right how the enthusiasm. He thinks they're insulting him or trying to interrupt him.
Right. um Actually, my only problem with this guy um is because he doesn't know who Bordas is, and like, why doesn't he know him? Is he new? Or
Right. Well, the question, right? What role does this guy play on the ship? I'm not familiar.
yeah.
I was wondering. I was kind of thinking that too. Apparently, this ship consists of a lot of civilians. I guess this is not like a military operation.
Right. Well, it is a military ship, but I guess it also has civilians.
Okay, then that may be why he's not familiar with who's of the
Yeah,
command.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea. Cool design though. I mean, anyway, I probably failed to mention it last time we had this episode, But Bordas says he can sing, but we hear the beginning of My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Unfortunately, or depending on your perspective, fortunately, this song is interrupted by a call from Admiral Halsey, whom we haven't seen since the pilot episode, Old Wounds. The crowd is cheering, so Bordas says, "Oh, you will be silent." So that was the part I already mentioned.
All right.
The Admiral asks if they know about the Navarrian-Bruidian conflict, so we're on the next page. Yeah, so he was just about to sing, and he gets interrupted by the call from the Admiral. Um, and the Admiral asks if they know about the Navarrian-Bruidian conflict, and Kelly doesn't remember. So Ed illuminates that the Navarrians and the Bruidians have been fighting over a planet called Lepovius for as long as the Union has known them, and each say they colonized the world first, and this conflict is heading to war again, right on the border of Union space.
It's
The
funny how exposition always works. You've got to always have someone in the room who doesn't know what's going on, so that someone else can explain to catch us, the audience, up.
Yes, exactly. So yeah,
Hmm.
Kelly has to have a brain uh, malady in order for us to get
Right,
it with the exposition.
right. In this scene, she represents the audience. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't read her report.
All right. Even though she's first in command, you think she would
Right,
know, but
right.
who
Yeah,
cares?
she should. She should know, but yes, that's exactly what it is. I noticed that too, but it didn't bother me because I didn't. I needed to know this. I didn't know. Each say they colonize the world first, and Admiral is sure that the battle won't just stick with them either. That they're gonna all bring all their allies in, and it's just gonna be really messy. So, an artifact has been found, which both sides have agreed they could examine it for DNA. Um, to see who really who really should have the planet. And the two have decided to concede to whomever's DNA is found on the object. Ed doesn't believe it will end so simply, but Orville will play host as neutral ground while they figure this out. Right now, the object is on USS Olympia. So we're going to see another ship where they pick up the archaeologist. They start by figuring out how to set up the cabins for each species, knowing that they hate each other. So Alara takes that into consideration and puts them on opposite sides of the ship. We see that the USS Olympia is a smaller ship. Like that. Okay. And only has two quantum rings other versus the three. And this is because it is a science ship for strictly for scientific research.
That I didn't notice. Thank you. I noticed that it was different in design, but I didn't realize it was because of the science ship. But it does make sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. And when I did look that up. When Alara sees who the archaeologist will be, well, first let me get the few shots there. Oh yeah, when she sees who it's going to be, instead of using the comps, she dashes downstairs to try and stop him from disembarking the shuttlecraft, containing which contains Dorulio, the man that Kelly cheated with, ending her marriage with Ed. Even Ensign Brooks knew about it. That's Ensign Brooks. And Julio is played by Rob Lowe. He's a pretty prolific actor. He's been in a ton of things. Like the stuff I know is Tommy Boy, Wayne's World, Austin Powers. But actually I haven't
The
really seen
Outsiders.
any of his newer stuff. He was in Outsiders too? Cool. I love
Yeah, I
that.
believe so. He had a few share of the controversies as well.
Oh yeah. I don't know anything about the drama in Hollywood.
Let's just say an undisclosed tape of his got released on the internet. That
Oh
story.
boy. Oh yeah, a lot of people would have one of those.
They made fun of it. What's funny is he's willing to laugh at himself. He did a cameo making fun of himself in Wayne's World. It was either the first one or the second one.
Well, that's really good of him. That's funny.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think he's heavily into politics, if I remember right.
Oh, he is. Well, but that's okay. He can have his own
Oh yeah,
politics.
right. That's funny. Yeah, it's okay. We like him anyway, despite being into politics.
Well, it just depends on, if he keeps it to himself, I don't know what he does.
Oh well, so far we don't see him on the Oscars or talking
Yeah,
down
I
to
don't I
everybody.
didn't see
So
him
yeah,
slap anyone. I didn't see him try to put anyone down or stifle anyone's freedom of speech, so he's okay.
right. Yeah, he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
So I know him. I watch a lot of documentaries, so every once in a while I hear his voice on a documentary. I don't not all the time, but a few times.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't
nice.
remember what they were, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, it's been a while, but I think his career was kind of on the upswing until the controversy with the internet tape that came out. I think that kind of derailed his career. Sad to say.
Mm, that is
So I,
sad.
yeah, it is. I think him obviously him and Seth MacFarlane must be friends, and I
Yeah.
think maybe Seth gave him this role here to kind of help him out and give him a spotlight.
hmm His connection to Seth is some voice work he did on Family Guy.
That would make sense.
Yep.
Which gives Seth access to a lot of people, right?
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people want to be on that show, and they get just like a little bit part, and
Yeah,
there
like
you
they did
go.
The Simpsons. Yeah.
Exactly. And oh, I didn't bring it into this room, but I also got a book in today called The World of Orville, and I wish I had this thing sooner because it has a lot of great stuff in it. Um, and
Oh,
I also
very
wish they
nice.
made one for season two because this has some fun stuff. Anyway, there's a
Maybe they'll.
page in here about Gerulio. Howard Berger, who's the makeup department head for season one, likes to make sure the actor is okay with full body makeup. And Rob reportedly said, "What have I got to lose? I've been at this for so long. I'm in. I'm in." So he got in his blue underwear, and then he was painted blue with little scales. About him, Berger said, "Rob was fantastic. One of the best people I've ever worked with."
That's
So
interesting. So they made up his entire body.
yeah, he's blue all the way.
Wow, interesting. They're really going for detail.
hmm
That explains. Remember the earlier episode when I was talking about how I was impressed that they showed Bortus in the entire costume. So that
Yeah,
explains it.
it must be really warm in there in Bortus's
Oh,
costume.
absolutely.
So in this episode, this one, most of the Orville episodes I'd watch with my 8-year-old, but there might be a couple I might skip, and this might be one of them.
Possibly. I understand. Yeah, may not be wise for little children.
Yeah, but most of these shows are. This isn't that bad, but it's like kind of like there's a lot to explain here.
Well, one specific scene, a little
hmm
kid wouldn't understand. I
Yeah,
guess I would say.
that he might see as a horror scene more than what it really is.
Right. I mean, it would definitely confuse them at the least. Yes.
It confuses me. um.
It's funny because
Anyway,
it's basically like a replay of from the first episode, right? He caught them
yeah,
at the exact
exactly.
same moment. Yes. But I don't want to get ahead of us ourselves.
Yeah, you're right though. You're right. It is. It's a tie back to the first episode, even with having the admiral back. That particular one.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, Gerilio admits that it's awkward and that if he'd known, he'd asked to be replaced. And Ed is hostile, and Gerilio appears to be handling it gracefully. Uh, by trying to shift the focus onto the peace negotiations and study the artifact. Um, the captain has really, really strong emotions during this episode. he's hurt from having been cheated on, and it's just getting the wounds are reopening from the first episode. But he gets so angry that that they start fighting. So this is when we first get to see Lieutenant Dan make his first appearance to break them up. Break up their fight on the elevator. He makes some small talk about wanting some music on the elevator. And Alara is telling Drulio that his quarters are next to the lab when he trips through Yaphet. There he is tripping through Yaphet. And it's great when something happens with Yaphet that the camera focuses on him center frame.
Yes, it
And
is. And it's good that they keep showing him on a regular basis. I like the character.
yes, I love him too. And Drulio has to replace a piece of Yaphet back onto him. And Yaphet's carrying some flowers and guitar, and we can already guess whom they're for.
Right, we can assume from the previous episodes.
Yep, it's a little arc with him. Clyden and Bortus are handed back their baby after he's gotten his shots, and Clyden wants Bortus to be at dinner, but Bortus has to work. He says he has to work with the diplomatic work, but I watched this entire episode, and Bortus does nothing with the diplomatic work.
Which might be tying into a later episode.
hmm Exactly. What is he doing this whole time? What is Bortus doing this whole time? This whole episode. Another episode I might not want to watch with my son either. But we'll
Oh,
get to that later.
yeah, that's true.
Bortus confesses his marital status with Claire concerning their fighting and lack of intimacy. And I don't know. It's just that it's kind of a throwaway here. Of course, it comes back in that episode we just mentioned.
Well, it's funny too. It's a reversal of roles. Usually, it's the husband and wife, and the wife is saying the husband's never there,
Uh-huh.
and the wife's jealous because husband's always at work. So it's funny the way they
Right.
play the characters.
Yeah, they play it straight, like it makes sense. Like it's just this is the way it is.
Right. Even though they're two, what's interesting, even though they're according to the plot, the script, they're both
Mhm.
males. It's like Clyden is the mother, and
Yeah,
Bortus is the father for some reason.
right. And you do remember that Clyden actually was born a female before he was changed.
Correct. And Clyden's the one that sat on the egg. I don't know if they both did or not.
Oh wait, no, Bortus sat on the egg.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Bortus sat on the egg. That's
Yeah,
right.
that is interesting. But male penguin sit on the egg.
Yep.
Anyway, Yaphet arrives with his flowers and guitar for Claire. So I guess that's in this next one. They're talking about their marriage. There they are. And he asks her out through song, and she assures him before he sings that the answer's no. But he's determined, so he sings "I Want to Be Your Boyfriend" by the Ramones, the punk rock song.
Yes.
And I just have to accept that everyone in the ship is, just in love with 20th century music and get over it.
You know, I was thinking about that again. This episode made me think about that. Let me ask your opinion on this. Do you think when they wrote this, they didn't plan on this going into the future? They don't care how the current pop culture references land, or do you think they think that 20 years from now people will be singing the same things? What do you think? Because in some shows and movies they avoid current pop culture and politics for that reason, but this show seems to embrace them.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe it's just fun for us, something we can relate to. Um,
Well, for now because it's still
but
relatively current.
yeah, right. So will people still like the Ramones in 20 years? I don't know. I mean, they've been around for so long. I think so,
It's
but we'll see.
possible, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Baby Seth thinks he has an eye for what's going to still be relevant in 100 years.
Well, the man makes more money than I do, so I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, right? He could be right. He could be wrong. I
Possibly.
guess time will tell
Yep.
just how badly it dates. So then he pours his heart out. He tells her he loves her, but she can't fake her love back, so she has to reject him. And there he goes. He has to go. And there's the contact that'll be important later.
And that's when the flowers go from CGI to real.
Hmm. Nice, nice observation. He's singing the punk rock song. He's gone. And in Dorelio's lab, he has scanned the artifact, but these scans still need to be analyzed for DNA, and he says it'll take a few days for the results to be compared with the DNA of the fighting races. She comes to the lab not for this report, but to tell him that she won't be with him this time. But directly after he touches her hair, she has a major change in body language, going from putting her foot down to letting her guard down, and suddenly begins to overcompliment him.
Yes, they began flirting with each other.
Right. And the Brudians and Navarians are on their way, but Kelly isn't there to greet them because she's distracted with Jolio. She's in her quarters, so Ed goes to investigate himself, paralleling the exact first scene from season 1, Old Wounds.
Yes, right there.
And Ed catches Kelly and Julio in bed, and he squirts his goo again.
And there's part of the full body makeup there.
Yeah, part of it, yep. Kelly tries to explain herself, but Ed is just completely outraged, especially since she should have been doing her duty. Um, and it appears that she's being insubordinate, but we find out later what's really happening.
Right. She's supposed to be down in, excuse me, in the shuttle bay, receiving the guests or
Yes.
warning factors, I guess.
So over this, they start arguing and yelling at each other again on the elevator. So how do you interrupt the yelling again? We have Lieutenant Dan again.
Right. Poor guy.
I know, he just accidentally keeps running into them. And so Ed gives him the power to uh to put music in the elevator. He says,
Well,
"Okay, you do
right.
it. You make that."
Right. Because he doesn't want to be bothered. So he just gives him an answer to keep him silent.
Yeah, yeah, make that your thing.
Yeah, go ahead. You go for it. Whatever. I don't even think he was actually paying attention to what he was saying.
Yeah, no. So we've got these two colonists. The one that has bat'leths on their heads are called Navarians. And they're being accused of
Are you there, Jill?
attacking what's that?
Hello, hello, Jill.
Hello?
I think you might be muted, Jill. There you go.
Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear that. You hear me
It
again?
shows you it's not muted, but we can't hear you, Jill, unless it's me.
Hello, hello? Anyone in the chat? Can anyone in the chat hear me? We only have 2 people there, so I don't know if they want to reveal themselves to help us out here with sound check.
I think Jill may be having technical difficulties. If anybody's out there, please bear with us. I'm sure she'll be right back.
Hello? Yes, please vamp for me. Oh, you can hear me, J25? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to Cavatino. Yeah, sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
I'll keep in touch with her. She may be having to deal with her baby. Welcome in the chat to J25. Appreciate you joining us. And Capitino Cavalryman Shay? Oh, then maybe it's me. I'm sorry.
Um, can you hear me now? Okay, I know the audience can hear me, so I will continue on, and maybe you can leave and come back. Uh, I don't know.
I'm gonna try to check and see if it's me.
Okay. Um, I don't want to keep this too. I don't want to have too much of not talking. So, um, where was I? Okay, so the Navarians are being accused of attacking the Beridian supply lines,
Oh,
effectively
it's
keeping
me.
effectively keeping the Bruidians um from getting any food, and so um the Navarians don't deny it and say that the other is killing. Is they're saying that the Navarians are killing the Beridians or whatever. They're just fighting, and the Beridian pulls a knife. I actually had a question for Pop Culture Curator, but I guess I'll ask it when he gets back. I was wondering why the delegates weren't de-armed before boarding. And also, if they didn't bother to de-arm them, I wonder if they also didn't bother to set up their replicators to ensure that they couldn't fashion weapons that way too. So, but none of that is really relevant because it doesn't really come up. All right, Pop Culture Curator is back. Welcome back.
I am so sorry. I feel like such a fool. I
Oh
don't know
no,
what
that's
happened.
okay.
I
Can
had
you
to
hear
pretty
now?
much, yes, I had to log out, and I don't know why I had to unplug my mic and headphone and plug them back in. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. Okay, so Navarians. I think the Navarians are the ones that pull the knife. I was wondering why they weren't. The delegates weren't de-armed, and
You're right. That would have been the first thing. They should have been scanned, right? I don't know if they actually physically search them like these days with the police, but they should have been scanned.
um, can you vent for me for a little bit? I need to do something.
Go for it.
Thank you. You can talk about your channel or the episode or whatever you like.
Okay, this episode here, I wanted to disclose if any of you out there in the chat has seen this. I know we recommend all these episodes, but this one, I have to be honest, when it first started and I saw that it was the character with Rob Lowe, I hadn't seen this in a while. I hadn't seen it since it first aired. But I thought, oh, this is going to be a boring romantic episode about a love triangle. But it's actually a very funny episode. I really give credit to who wrote it because it takes a lot of the Star Trek tropes and tropes from sci fi movies and kind of turns them on their ear the way the command crew handles the situation. Because pretty much they have almost an intergalactic conflict here at their hands. But due to the situation, they're unable to or unwilling to deal with it. And I thought that was very hilarious. And with the fact that they have two aliens that hate each other and they're on the brink of going to war, it reminds me of several episodes of The Next Generation. I'm sure there was some specifically, probably more than one. Jedi Bill, good to see you, sir. Welcome to the channel. And it looks like we've got 3 or 4 people so far. If you like the channel, this is Anti-Derivative Jill's coverage of the Orville. She covers it every Tuesday around noon, 12:30 her time, Central Time. If you enjoy it, please hit the like button. I'm sure she would really appreciate it. We'll be adding more content. We're going to be covering 2 episodes each week up until the release of season 3, which hopefully will happen on schedule. I know it's been delayed a few times, but we're hoping to catch it. And then maybe perhaps we can review those episodes on here as well, and you can tune into those. If any of you would like to join us in the chat, Jill has um, the link at the top if you'd like to click on it, and please join us. It would be great to have other people to talk to, especially if you like the Orville or if you have any opinion on it or any opinion in general. You're welcome to join us. I know a lot of you
Yes,
guys in chat are good people, so yeah, you're welcome at any time.
yes, I agree completely. Anyone is welcome to come talk to us about the Orville. Thank you, Pop Culture Curator. That was perfect. And yes,
My pleasure.
we will be
It was the
reviewing.
least. I'm sorry, but it was the least I could do for sticking the foot in my mouth a couple minutes ago.
No, you did perfect. That was awesome. So before the and okay, so since we've got some chats here, we had J25 help out with the audio earlier,
Yes, thank you.
and he also said, "Good questions. You can't take these things for granted when you can't just deactivate weapons in transport."
Well, night can't be activated too, but they would have a metal detector. Sorry.
Right. And then hello to Jedi Bill. Yeah, and I know. Oops, I started.
There we go.
And Cavitino needs to catch up with season 2. This episode is going to be considered a classic in the future. And Jedi Bill, where is Jill? I haven't heard her talk yet. Oh yeah, I'm here. I just had to go
There
for
you
a
go,
little
Bill.
bit.
There's your
Oh,
answer.
hello to Tim's talk. You're also welcome to join the panel if you'd like. If you like the Orville and you got something to say about it, we're just talking about Cupid's Dagger
Hello, sir.
and Firestorm today.
Two very good episodes for two very good different reasons.
And so Ed's able to calm the situation down because he's still got his faculties at this moment. And even though he tries to pull a knife on them, Alara is able to take it away. And Ed's able to negotiate them to not kill each other at this time, at least.
All right.
And oh, that seems out of order. Oh well, what the heck happened
That's
here?
okay.
This is way out of order. I don't know. I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, before the DNA results come in, Captain Mercer wants to have a peace talk with them to see if they can share the planet instead, just to give them a try. Oh, also in this shuttlecraft, we get some news reports specifically for the Clobberin Times channel. We get confirmation during the scene that M&Ms still exist in the Orville future. No mention of peanuts or pretzels, so that should also please Captain Clobby.
Yes.
And that's the end of that special report.
And look at that. They built full size sets for those ships, and I thought that was excellent. I'm glad they went
Yeah,
to the
they look
effort.
pretty cool.
Yeah, they did.
Right, they could have just had the little models for the battle. They didn't have to do that.
Right, or a transporter, but they don't. They actually have these enemy shuttles come aboard their ship, which I thought was really cool. I'm glad that they went to the effort. That's some money in the budget there, which is really nice and attention to detail.
Yeah. Good use of the money in the budget.
Absolutely,
And
we can see it on screen.
yeah. Hello to Sort of Poop is Cuber. We're just talking about the Orville today. And um so Kelly is at a loss to explain to Alara why she fell for Gerulio. She compares it to being magnetically attracted and like being drugged. For her, Ed was different, because Ed would they were that was a real relationship. But she doesn't see that. She
No, and
thinks that she's actually in love with him.
right, and she says that he's her soul, not Ed, but she says that the alien is her soulmate.
Yep. Ed is also confiding in his friend in the next scene. I got quite a bit of Her oh yeah, she's drinking there. Yeah, drinking some wine.
Well, it's funny,
And
these two scenes, they pretty much mirror each other. They're both the same thing.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because Ed is also confiding with his friend Gordon.
Right. And Ed is extremely enamored for some strange reason.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, he's extremely hostile and upset. I think it is already starting to affect him, which is why his emotions are kind of going out of whack.
Well, that absolutely is. It reminds me of like a teenager who met their first date, or their first crush. They're all excited, right?
Yes.
So it's already definitely already affecting him and his
Yeah,
judgment.
he just doesn't realize it yet. And hello in the chat to I Love Food.
Hello, I love food. Good to see you.
And he's expressing his outrage to Gordon. So I also don't really look at this space station. I get distracted sometimes when I'm watching a show, and I just and I this space station is the Union Dockyard. In the next shot, we get a closer look of it. And Gordon tries to get Ed to focus on his work. So you know something's wrong. And this happens more than once. You know something's wrong when Gordon is the one saying, "Hey, shouldn't you be doing your work?"
Right, of all people.
But Ed's on a warpath. He finally remembers he's captain, and he's going to fire Drulio. So he does that, and Drulio's like, "All right, that's fine. It's your ship."
Oh, that's right. I was getting a little ahead of myself. That's right. He was still upset. That's right. He's still upset.
Yeah, he's still upset, but
Yes.
he's not enamored yet.
Right.
He'll
Cause
get there.
exactly. Here's where he's down here, and to
But
basically,
he's
I guess, fire the guy. So the guy's a civilian scientist, right?
yeah, yeah, he's
Yes.
civilian scientist. And
Yeah.
Ed's already out of sorts, even though he's not in love yet. He's his emotions have already been affected by from that handshake that they had.
Correct.
So Ed asks to check out the progress he's made. We learned the first thing about Drulio's species, which is that Retepsians have a very strange custom where it's rude to turn down sex, as if it's only a handshake. So I've definitely never seen a species like this before. Anyway, still
I was
seething.
thinking of the Deltans in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, ILIA, similar to that.
Oh, Alea. I didn't consider that.
She had to remember she had to swear to celibacy because her species was known to be what it was.
Oh,
But
okay. So if there's that, then I guess you could also say um, Beta Zeds also.
true. Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's a good point. Anyway, um, he convinces Ed to look through the microscope to see his work, to see how he's done. And yes, that, yes. For some reason, they made these aliens like that, and it's very, very strange. So he decides to actually look through the microscope, and he looks at this. Oh wait, isn't it? The slide's not sliding. No. Oh, you know why it's not sliding? Is because I need the next slide. I forgot I have to do multiple slides for this episode. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. I hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up the next slides.
I just mute when I'm not talking.
That makes sense. Where to go? There it is.
And by the way, Cavatino made the comment about the great homage to Star Trek
Oh,
with
I
that
missed that
that
one.
that base. Well, the base that you were talking about in the poster. It does. It reminded me of kind of like the nacelles on the uh, Federation ships.
Yes, the space station is a great homage to Star Trek. I think so. I think you can tell that whoever's doing the design for the work on this show is paying very great attention to that kind of detail to
Yes,
past fiction works.
I completely agree. Yes.
And Sora Poopus Cuber says, "Fortunately, I never get asked, so I don't have a chance to be rude." Okay.
I wanted to ask you about something, Jill. In your opinion, this that reminded me about something. Um, Yaphet has been basically trying to date the Doctor, right?
Right.
In the real world, and now in this day and age, wouldn't that have already been considered sexual harassment? What do you think? I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that's
because I've seen people
that
get
only on Twitter.
accused of it for doing less.
Only on Twitter.
When I was a teacher and I worked for a school district, there was a repair person who would repair computers and networking and things like that. And I guess he was attracted to a woman at a school. He asked her if she was married, and a complaint was filed. He was fired.
Oh my God, just once he asked her?
Just asked her if
Like,
she was
see, I
married.
think maybe Yaphet maybe pushes the line by going asking over and over and over again when she keeps saying no. But sometimes persistence does pay off, and
Well, that's a lot of big. Ray Bradbury famously said, I remember he was on that Bill Maher show, that politically incorrect, or that show. Ray Bradbury was on there before he passed away, and they asked him, do you believe in sexual harassment? Do you think it's a thing? And he said, well, I harassed my wife for years before she finally married me. So you never know.
yeah. Well, she does threaten to um get Yaphet in trouble if he doesn't go back to his just
True.
go back to his quarters. So she does draw the line. So she can take care of herself. She does things for herself, and she can. I don't get why people have to baby other people.
I
They know what they're doing, and Yaphet
oh, I
isn't
agree.
physically assaulting her or
Oh
anything.
no, no, no. You and I both
So
agree with that. But I think what I'm thinking is seeing somebody asking somebody for a date, and especially
mhm,
more than once, is something we're not going to
right,
be seeing much more of anymore on television and movies.
right.
I think it's a dying romantic thing. Sad to say,
We'll see. At
because in
least
this
Dad
day,
still believes in it.
well, I know I live in California. In this day and age, you got to watch everything you say or ask people, or you can get turned, like I said, just turned in for one question.
Yeah.
But
Well, he can also Yaphet can be a little bit inappropriate too sometimes, like when he talks about making a you know different
right,
cakes for her.
different shapes, right? Okay,
So
but
maybe
I don't
that
want to get off the
maybe
rails
that
here. So,
maybe that could have been a call to HR, but
right, it's still innocent though. It's still innocent.
it is, but that's
Right.
yeah. Yaphet's totally fine with me.
Same here.
Oh, and I Love Food says goodbye humans. I'm switching planets. Okay, have fun. I Love Food.
It's a good thing those microscopes are designed for human eyes.
Where was I?
And I don't know. I think if I was to design something to look futuristic that was designed for many people, I would have the lenses on a sliding scale so you can have them at different distances.
Mm-hmm. And Ed decides to take a look through the microscope, which we see in which we see these DNA strands that are about 30,000 years old, and Dorolio still can't tell whether it is Navarian or Bermudian. And the artifact turns out to be a birthing bucket, so the DNA that is within it is from a placenta.
Right. And at this point, I thought I guessed the ending of the episode, and I was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Just being close enough. What was your guess?
Oh, I was guessing that it was going to be DNA of both species, and they were going to find out that they were related. That old plot, and I was wrong.
You
Actually,
were?
I don't want to give it away.
You were wrong? I thought you were right, but okay, let's see. Just being close enough to Derulio seems to be enough to change Ed's attitude, and all of his aggression and hostility is gone. And he doesn't fire Derulio. And not only that, but he decides to have a drink with him in the mess hall. And he acts really goofy because now he's falling in love too. There he is.
Right. This is where he suddenly switches. Right.
Yep. But Ed isn't the only one behaving out of character in this way. Out of nowhere, Dr. Claire Finn does a 180 on her attitude towards Yaphet. She appears all dolled up in front of his quarters, and Yaphet is astonished, but, he accepts his turn of fate. He shows her how he sleeps in his bed, which we haven't seen yet either. It's like a pan that allows him to relax his whole shape.
Right. It's good that they showed this and they covered this, but her being the ship's doctor, she would have known this.
Yeah, of course she would know this.
Right.
Right. She would know how he sleeps.
Right. She would know everything
It's
about
like,
him because she's his doctor as well, supposedly.
yeah, because imagine Julian being surprised that Odo sleeps in a bucket. Like,
Right.
duh. Claire runs her finger through him in this liquid state as if he's a pool of water, and it tickles him. And Claire asks about a photo, asking if one is of his mom. Oh, yeah. And Yaphet reveals something about a species that she used to be his mom, but they reproduce by mitosis, so now she's his brother.
And it's funny because he said that his brother had the better looks.
Oh, yeah. On the harassment question, it could be that a multicultural society might preach tolerance. Nutty idea, I know, and patience.
Well, that's the way it used to be.
Yeah, right. So then we cut back to Ed plucking his eyebrows. Before that, we see a kiss between Yaphet and
Right. Here's the making out
Claire.
scene.
Yeah. So Ed's plucking his eyebrows, and Gordon is visiting, where he lets Gordon know that he is letting Geronimo finish his job, which of course confuses Gordon. And something's wrong when Gordon asks whether Ed should be working on the negotiations, but Ed's more concerned about what he's going to wear when he meets Julio for drinks.
Right. He's all excited about his date.
Yep. And, you know, Gordon's quite confused by the whole thing. So then, Alara's telling John of a similar experience she had with Kelly. He says that John just says she's on drugs and the whole ship's on drugs. And he doesn't even know how right he is. The Navarians have been asking how the DNA results are coming along, but um, all their communique have been ignored. So finally, he brings it up with Alara, and she points out Captain Mercer, but he just brushes them off to meet Gerullio. But Ed's clearly disappointed that Kelly is also there. So, yeah.
Right. It's funny the way he brushes the guy off. This is one of the
Yeah.
things I was talking about. It's a trope where you think that would have been the center of his attention, but he just brushes him off like it's nothing.
Yeah, normally when you have that kind of diplomatic episode, all the drama and tension is between the two delegates, but we hardly see them at all this episode. They're just
Right.
there and just like,
Well, they
whatever,
complain.
you're not
Right. They
important.
complain, and then they're told to go back to their quarters and shut up. Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're given a way to communicate, but they're never called back.
Right. And notice the whole time we don't see Bordis.
Right. Bortus. Where's Bortus? Huh. I wonder. That comes up later. And Isla Food says exactly. That's why I don't try to convince or argue with anyone outside of my tribe. A whole world full of bad ideas.
Oh, that's true.
And Alara's telling oh wait. No, we're with Ed now.
Right, and these two are basically Ed and her looking at each other like they hate each other because there's both of them are enamored over this guy, but they don't know why. But it's fierce. The rivalry is fierce, and it's really funny. Normally on paper, if I would have read this, I would have thought it was creepy, but it's well written. It's actually very funny.
Yeah, Kelly is trying to deal with the he tries to get Kelly to deal with the delegation. But Kelly's confused by Ed's behavior, thinking he's messing with her, not knowing that Ed's really into him now. But then she notices that he's wearing cologne and plucked his eyebrows, which are things that he used to do for her. So now she knows that he's serious.
Right.
And you know, everything has all of this has an explanation, but we take a little bit of a while to get to it.
Yeah, and I don't want to blow it.
Yeah.
No spoilers, hopefully.
Well, luckily for me, the Brillians and Navarians are running out of a lot of patience. Um, oh yeah, they're she's telling her story, and he finishes the story really quick because he wants to talk to him.
Oh, there's Mr. Bordis.
And Cavitino says there are strict regulations with fraternization in the military. Things could have turned into an interstellar incident, and that's
That's
correct.
that's kind of the joke that they right. That's what they're playing with in this episode. It could be an interstellar incident, and how lightly the bridge crew are taking it, the command crew.
Yep. And Laura finally informs Bordis about how Kelly is obsessed with archaeologists, and Gordon says the same thing about Ed on the bridge. So the bridge crew is finally getting apprised of everything. And Marcus and Ty appear also. Oh yeah. They're that guy's not happy. Marcus and Ty need their mom, but she's been locked in her office for hours, so they come to the bridge for help. And then Alara comes to check on Claire, and we see that. And then I wish I hadn't seen that.
And
And
she's
then it
not being killed, people. By the way, she's not being killed.
yeah, Yaphet is not eating her alive. And it appears that Lara feels the same way. Claire decides herself. Claire, Claire declares herself soulmates with Yaphet, and Lara admits she's seen a lot of soulmates around lately. And Caviarto, Cavitino says, "Oh my god, yeah, that was me when I first saw it." And Starter Poop is cute. Imagine seeing it in motion. Like there's a lot of movement going on with that. That's
Oh
even
yeah,
worse.
and her reactions, yes.
Yeah, and her reaction. The image is enough. Snorta Poopus Cuber says, "It was an immersive moment." So the delegation groups are becoming extremely angry at being ignored. And Claire is offended, getting her privacy violated. But Lara's like, "This is sick bay. What are you
Right.
talking about?" So she just leaves her there, and Alara is telling Yaphet to stay away from Claire, and he's like, "All right," and he does. And Avatino says Doctor was conducting scientific research. So while the delegations are ready to go to war, Mercer and Grayson are in Science Lab 1 and they won't return communications. Even Gerulio is trying to get to work, but Kelly wants to see a movie with him, and Ed wants to take him on a picnic.
Right.
And, Gerulio has to pick which one, I guess. And Delara finally says what I've been thinking this whole time. They're all acting like insane teenagers, and it started when you came on board. And so there, Gerulio finally admits the truth. Every year, Retepsians go into heat, sending out hormones through touching that causes attraction. So that began when he shook hands with Ed and Kelly, finally explaining why they're both acting like they're in love with him, because chemically they are. I do like that this means that she was under she might have been under an alien influence when she cheated on Ed. Um,
The first time around, they ask him that. Don't. Oh, I don't want to
yeah, they do
give
at the
away too
end.
much. Yes.
I kind of skip ahead. It comes to your mind as soon as it happens. So it's not
Yes.
really a spoiler because you think of it straight away anyway.
Right.
It also happened when Drulio tripped over Yaphet, who transferred his pheromones to Claire when he gave her the flowers. So he says that it's harmless. Drulio thinks that it's harmless. Hold on just a second. Can you vamp just a second?
Go for it. And once again, everybody, if any of you want to join us, we have the link pinned to the top of the panel if you'd like to come up and speak. If you have not seen this episode, once again, I don't want to repeat myself too many times, but we highly recommend it. It's very funny. Rob Lowe does a great job.
Yeah, Rob Lowe does a great job with something that could have come off a lot creepier than
Right,
because
he makes him likable, even though through what's going on, you probably wouldn't like the character, but he makes him
all right.
likable.
Mm.
And she gets a lot of screen time in these episodes.
Yeah, Laura. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, with the first officer and the captain incapacitated, she has to step up again.
Yes.
And Bortus, going off with his porn program that we don't know about. Sorry, I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have revealed that, but that's what he's doing.
It's okay.
Um, but I don't really think that's harmless because it makes you do very intimate things without really being in control of your faculties. So I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's as light as he takes it that
True, right. And
because it's a,
it can destroy a lot of relationships.
right. It's a manipulation of the mind, and really, he through union rules he should be in some kind of trouble, but he doesn't get in any trouble. I guess. I guess. I guess it's because that's his species. He doesn't know it's wrong, so he needs to be taught that it's
And
not the
right,
right way to interact with other species.
and you would think that when they became part of working with them, that would have been one of the first things they would have had to have revealed.
Right? But
Yeah,
I guess
it's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
That's equivalent of somebody telling you, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, but I have hives." or something highly contagious. You know what I mean? After you've been around them for a day or two, it's kind of equivalent to that.
Yeah.
It's more lighthearted and everything, but it's something they should bring out in the. But that's nitpicking.
Yes, I am. I'm nitpicking, but I'm also here for nitpicking. So if I wanna take problem with it, yeah, I do. A little bit. Um all Alara accuses him of is causing these negotiations to lead to war. And finally we get our third time on the turbo lift in this episode. And The Straight Life by Bobby Goldsboro is playing. And it appears that Lieutenant Dan took the assignment seriously and got music to play on the elevator. So at least somebody accomplished something on this episode. Seriously, the introduction of Lieutenant Dan is probably my favorite part. I like him. So now here, Ed and Kelly finally try to do their jobs. The the delegations say, "You have ignored our inquiry since we came aboard." And that is part of the comedic element, but it is a problem with the episode too. Yes, in general, it's fun and funny trying to figure out why everyone's getting all hot for each other, but it's and it's kind of fun seeing what's happening here because it's kind of like that Deep Space Nine episode where where something similar occurs because Loxana Troy is aboard the ship and she's having some kind of betazoid menopause that's causing a very similar thing where everybody's acting like they're in love with each other.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's also a pretty funny episode. So so yes, this is a fine episode. If you just make sure to appreciate it as a fun time.
I did. In fact, this scene here, for me, it got the biggest laugh out of me because these
Uh,
two are on opposing factions across the table, and they're telling Captain Mercer, "Look, if you don't tell us right now, we're going to go to war." And his reaction, the way he deals with it, made me. I really laughed because it's just so out of ordinary for what we see in these usual episodes.
yes, because the humor works in this episode. That's why the episode works.
Yes, it does. The writer did a great job.
Mhm. And we get some relationship growth with Ed and Kelly, where Ed finds out it was the aliens' fault, not Kelly's. But I would have just liked to see more of the conflict with the aliens a little bit, just a little bit. I know it was part of the humor, but I would have liked to know a little more about them.
That is true. But I think that's part of the humor is the
Yes,
fact that they didn't right. They
but
kept
they're completely ignored.
right. They're ignored and cast aside several times.
Yeah, so the tensions have grown so much that the two species are ready for war. And I don't know why. Well, I kind of we have been talking insinuating this whole time why Bordis is not taking charge, but we don't even know exactly why Alara's not. And and why they're not there to support Ed and Kelly knowing their diminished mental state.
True. Yes.
So I would think that Alara would have been there, but I guess she can't be in two places at once. She's very busy.
Right. She seems to be dealing with a lot right now during this
Yeah,
part.
yeah. Because at this point she's dealing with Jerulio, and Nurse Park is helping. And I was wondering why the ship only has one doctor in this episode when they mentioned other doctors in another episode.
Right. I
So
guess unless I mean it's like Dr. McCoy where she's the head physician and there's
right,
other doctors or they also make it appear that she's excuse me not only a medical doctor but a psychiatrist or
a
psychologist.
psychiatrist. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's got both. So Nurse
Yep.
Park is helping since Dr. Finn can't. And um Isaac is analyzed Derulio's pheromone, but he couldn't figure out an antidote. Let's see here. Cavitino says, hope Seth gets full control of the Orville's rights one day so we can get a Hogwarts type of theme park. Whoa, that would be awesome. So
You can
like Star
always
Trek
hope.
the experience, but more like Universal
Right, it'd be
level.
like and not woke. 'Cause
Yeah.
modern day, if they had a Star Trek experience, I wouldn't want to experience it.
Oh. Oh, I'm not talking about that Star Trek experience. I'm talking about the one at the Hilton that they used to have before 2005, before it was
Yeah,
killed.
yeah, I went to it once. I'm glad I did before they tore it down.
I wish I could have gone. I never did. And then he also says, going to be a while until Claudia and Raquel get to that DS9 episode. Yeah, right. We start DS9 in the summer sometime. I think in July.
Yeah, did you hear that it's coming out in high definition?
Are they working on that? Are they just working on it, or are they actually going to do it?
It's supposed to be definitive for sure. It's not going to be like 4K, but I think it's going to be like I could be wrong, but I think I heard 720p. But I'm sure it'll at least be 1080. But yeah, they're farming out contractors to do it now because they're saying that I guess apparently when they did the next generation, it was very expensive per episode. They're saying now that the costs have come down tremendously, so they're considering it now. They're considering it with DS9 and Voyager, and there's the two fleets getting ready to go to war.
Yeah, Isaac analyzed Julius pheromone, but he couldn't figure out an antidote, which means that um, so so they just move on to the war at this point. The Brudians and Navarians have brought in their fleets, and Bortus tries to call the captain under the bridge, but Mercer's still drugged up on the pheromones. So, and Kelly's sulking in her quarters, so they're both useless. And Dorolio's finally the one to wake up from from what's happening here. And here's where we see that he really was painted all the way. Look at that.
Absolutely is.
And he realizes that the Orville needs its captain and doesn't have it. And the delegates are brought on board, and Bortus tells them to make their fleet stand down, but they refuse.
Yeah, another scene not recommended for children, guys.
Yeah, exactly. The Navarians say, your union has been entirely useless in this affair. We will handle ourselves from here. And, who could blame them? Bortus does all he can do, not having been apprised of anything the entire time, and combines them to quarters so he can at least prevent them from initiating battle.
Right,
But
where he tells her to take away any communication devices, and once again tells them to shut up and go to their quarters, and they turn right around and go and do it. I laughed when I did that. I'm like, okay, no argument there.
yeah, right. You really can't blame the delegates for what they do because
They're doing
they're
the
kind of
best they
pushed
can.
to it.
Right, they're at the bullying point, but they're doing the best they can to keep it under control.
Yep. And Isaac wants to extend the deflectors to create a barrier between the fleets to, mitigate damage. But Yaphet is needed for that to happen. And Julio shows up to the bridge because he knows he made the mess and now knows a way to fix it. Claire is also still under pheromones, and there are the ships. They look pretty fun. So she holds a phaser to Yaphet because he followed orders to stay away from her. And now she's upset about that.
She
And
thinks
he
he
can't,
scorned her. Yes.
yeah, he can't make it to engineering because of that.
And by the way, this shows that he was not affected by the pheromones. Only she was. That's why he was surprised
Yes,
when she came to his quarters.
right, right. Yeah, and he only was himself the whole time. And when he's told to stay away from her, he does.
Right. He transferred the pheromones to her, but he wasn't affected by them himself.
He's just a carrier. And so we see some of the ships fighting here.
Yeah, some good space battles here.
Woohoo! Yep, nice lasers. And Julio seems confident in his plan. Alara asks for communication with the fleet, and Julio uses his hormones to make the two species fall in love. And obviously, it won't work long term, but it stops the battle currently happening at least, so they could work on negotiations afterwards.
Right, and the good thing their fleets listen to them and just turn and leave.
Yeah, they do. They both listen. The fleets listen. And Cavitino says, "Hell hath no fury with the doctor with needs." And so, in the final scene, the crew of the Orville is finally coming off the love drug. Oh, right, we get that kiss. Sometimes I forget what happened, except for that's why I have these screenshots to remind me.
Right.
That's fun. In the final scene, the crew of the Orville is finally coming off of the love drug, and Nurse Park is given medical accommodation for putting in the work of a doctor in lieu of not having another on the ship, so he does a good job. But he says that the computer did all the work, so he's modest too. He explains, "It was just a souped up version of Mr. Drulio's pheromone. All we had to do was embed it in the Broodian sweat glands, and it was love at first sight." So, finally sober again, Ed and Kelly have a talk, and she says, "Can we just never talk about this ever?" And they agree to that. Then they talk about what they'll do once the pheromones wear off for the world leaders. And Julio finishes his analysis and reveals that the DNA from the artifact has evidence of both species' DNA, so they have a common ancestry. And so they have to share the planet. She asks if he was in heat when they met a year ago. And he says maybe. So he doesn't really answer them. They don't know for sure.
Well, both either answer would be devastating because he knew it broke up their relationship.
Right.
Right. So he took the safest way out, obviously.
Yeah, he did. So again, I enjoyed this episode. It was fun and funny. It slacked off a lot in the diplomatic section, even though that is part of the joke.
That is the joke, right? That's the running
Yeah.
joke. And this is what I wanted to harken back to what we talked about earlier. This is what I meant about I was wrong about the ending. We never find out about that DNA or who it belongs to. They never bring it up again.
Uh, no, they did. It was they found
Am
evidence
I
that the
wrong?
DNA. Yeah, the DNA had evidence of both species.
They did
So
say
it
that.
was the classic. Yeah, they
Oh,
did. It was the
oh,
classic. They both have a common ancestry. They're both,
okay. Thank you.
family.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. I
yeah,
guess I might
it
have
did
missed
have
that.
the
Thank you.
cliche ending.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. When you're yeah, but a couple of times we have Gordon telling the captain that he should be working. So that's kind of fun too.
Oh, absolutely. Or when the alien says, we're going to go to war. What are you going to do?" And he basically Ed says, "Well, I'm out of here," and he turns and leaves to go on his date.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
thought that
have
was
a date.
funny. Right. I have a date. He leaves.
He's just happy to be done with the conversation. So, what did you think of this episode, Pop Culture Curator?
I definitely enjoyed it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it at least an 8.
Yeah,
And it was
exactly.
right. And like I was saying earlier, it was funnier than I expected, and I enjoyed it more the second time around.
Yeah. I think I would give most of the episodes an A, and this one would probably be a B, but it was still very good.
I guess I should get on the same scale as you, so I'll say B.
Oh, you could say 8. You could have 8. You could have 8, and I could have
All right,
B's.
how about B plus? A B
Yeah,
and
B
plus for
plus.
the comedy because the comedy surprised me.
Hmm.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was good. So then I need to switch to my next slide. And how have you been doing today?
I am doing well. I got a lot of errands done yesterday. I got a video posted on my site last night, which should be up this morning, hopefully. And now laundry and nothing too exciting. Probably heading back to work a little later.
Ooh, we got to get through this one in 40 minutes because I got to go.
No problem. How are you and the
Let's
family
see if we
doing?
can do this. Um, doing pretty well.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
I got to go pick up the kids after this,
Gotcha.
so that's
Got
why I got to.
you got mommy duties. That's
Yeah,
understandable.
that's why I have the show this early.
And here we go.
There we are. Firestorm. This episode aired in the US on November 16th, 2017, and it was written by Sherry Sheva Pravat Pravat Doomrung and directed by Brandon Braga. So I'm glad his name is on this one. Whomever was saying they wanted an Alara episode would be happy with this one. So, as befitting an episode with such a title, the episode begins with the ship making its way through a storm. It looks like they're successful with minor injuries and minor damage to the ship, but of course, Mercer wants to get out of there while that's still the case. And Lamar is transferring the updated plasma distribution map to Gordon so he can continue to try to fly them out safely. And I also like when Gordon says, "Looks like a big screensaver, doesn't it?"
Yes.
Except, oh, yeah. I guess the ship does have some normal digital displays because a holographic display wouldn't need a screensaver.
No, and I don't know, just mechanically, unless they're really designed well, they just don't seem like they'd be reliable, but I don't know.
Yeah. So things are going well at first, but then Lamar sees something that they're not going to be able to avoid, and the storm's electrical lightning covers the ships. And I noticed that they avoided when this happens. They avoided the typical Star Trek trope of tossing the whole crew about the ship. So everyone is only slightly jostled.
And no panels explode.
Yeah. Oh well, they did do that one before, but
Yes.
but not this one. A major explosion has occurred in engineering, and mayhem, chaos, and destruction is happening all around. And Chief Engineer Newton reports that they've lost both the quantum phase inducers and the upper engine. He needs all the power he can get for the containment regulators. And that's clever because in Star Trek they normally call it the containment field.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
And Isaac gives Newton the ability to transfer the power he needs, and the red shirt announces that it worked when a bulkhead
Red
falls
shirt.
falls right on top of him. Well, that's
Right.
what he is here.
That's telling. Yes, very telling.
The engineering team try to recover him, but they're not strong enough to move the bulkhead, so they call for Alara, and she makes it to engineering. And as she approaches the fallen crew member, a big ball of fire or something explodes in her face. She's running. She gets there, and there's the big ball of fire. Like you could just see how much it is. Like, and then it explodes again. If it wasn't scary enough, uh, and so that freezes her in fear, and she cannot do anything until Newton calls her. And that's when she regains her composure to help. But yet something else falls on top of the crewmate, and he's gone. And it's not even her fault, but she blames herself anyway for her hesitation, believing she could have saved him if
Right.
she'd been faster.
He would have been dead anyway, or at least
Yeah,
severely wounded. Right.
right. The first bulkhead had already injured him enough.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like a big chunk of concrete. I know it wasn't concrete, but it looked heavy. By the way, when they tried to struggle to move it, they couldn't even budge it.
Yes. And Snarkoop is Cooper. Yes, I have to be the mom taxi pretty soon. So let's see if we can do this. Someone finally rediscovered the circuit breakers, and the Nerdpoil life form says, "Hello, Jill," in the chat. So,
Hello, Nerdporial.
so the episode begins with the memorial service for Lieutenant Payne, and Chief Newton gives a eulogy for him. And after the ceremony, Alara is taking out her anger against herself with some boxing. Oh dear. Um, I, I'll Nerdpoil Lifeform. I'll talk about that after the episode. I didn't hear that. That's some news there. But I need to get
I
through
can
the
just say
episode
I'm not
first.
surprised. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right. The episode begins with the fine memorial service, and then she starts boxing to get through her anger at herself, and she blows that up. The simulated bag here, and the whole time Kelly and Claire have been watching, and they try to convince her that it's not her fault, but she's not having it. Claire says the first book had caused massive internal injuries, so that even if Alara were faster, Payne still likely would have died. Um, she even insinuates that if Alara hadn't hesitated with fear, that she could have been killed too, which is something that I hadn't considered. She's right. It
Yeah,
makes sense.
the second piece could have fell on her.
Uh-huh. Yes, exactly. Okay, I'll read it. I don't like the filth all the time in the live stream, but Picard season 3 just baited us with the return of the TNG cast. I can't even get past episode 3 of Picard, let alone care that they're bringing back the TNG cast in season 3. It's really tough for me.
It
I
must be.
try.
I give you credit. I don't know how you can do it. I can't stomach one episode, let alone three.
Oh my god, 3 was enough. And then I heard that episode 4 destroyed Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home, and so I
Yes, I
just
heard
couldn't do
that.
it. That's my favorite movie, tied with Wrath of Khan.
Same here. I was watching some reviews, and it's unforgivable. I guess would be the word I would use for what they're doing to
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever go and watch that, but you know, wow. So they're saying they're gonna have Worf back, and what? What are they gonna do? I don't know. I hope Nerdportal Lifeform says, I hope Alara comes back on another note in Horizons.
Yeah, that's alluding to a character moment that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, I agree. I hope so too. She's a really great character. I prefer the Orville too. Definitely.
And I'm having audio issues again.
Shoot.
There we
Hello?
are.
Oh, I'm sorry. How long was I muted? Hello, are you there? Can
Just
you
a
hear me?
couple minutes.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a long time for a stream. Where was I? Can you tell me?
That's
What's
okay.
the
I thought
last
it was
thing that
me
you heard me
again.
say? What was the last thing you heard me say?
Ah, we were still talking about Alara after the injury when she said that she could have been
Oh,
killed.
oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Great. Yeah, that's fine. So then, Lamar
Oh
and
wait.
Lemoy have the
No, right.
simulator
No,
for.
you did cover the boxing. You did cover the boxing where they said that. Right, right. You're right. We did talk about that when they said she could have been killed. Yeah. So yeah, that's about where you left off.
Yeah, okay. So then, Lamar and Lemoy have a simulator because they're going to have some kind of duel. But Alara wants to keep boxing, so they're gonna have to duel another day.
Yes.
Um, sh- Alara tries to resign over this whole thing, but Ed won't let her off that easy, saying it wasn't a controllable situation and that Payne knew the risks. It's a classic argument that I've heard before, but Ed says it and it still sounds wonderful. He says, "People seem to think that being brave means not being afraid. The way I see it, if you're not afraid, there's nothing to be brave about."
Right.
He doesn't accept her resignation. Since it's such a problem for her, he advises to figure out where her fear fire comes from.
I was wondering about that. So it's is it a job or is it a military? Because you can't resign from the military.
Um, I
You know,
guess.
you can't tell your commanding officer I resign. He would be like, "What? This is your station. I'll decide who resigns and who doesn't."
Uh,
But I don't know. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
well, Worf
I would
resigned.
I would have right. I would have put it this way. I would have said to my commanding officer if I was in this situation, I'd say I feel that I'm unfit for duty.
I got another sandwich and you've got two soups and two teas.
Okay. Uh, please
Sorry.
continue.
No, I was
Yeah,
just
I'm
saying.
sorry too.
I was saying
Same.
I was in the military, and if I was in this situation, because it's a position, a job is something you resign from. If I want to quit, go to another place. But in the military, if I was in this situation, I would go to my commanding officer and say, I don't feel that I'm fit for duty, and then leave it up to your commanding officer to decide. Does that make sense? It could be crazy.
I suppose so. I don't know. I don't know how it works here.
It's off on
We're
a
not
tangent.
given. Yeah,
No, right? We're not.
that's a
They
good
don't really
tangent.
talk about that. But in the military, I'm just saying you can't just resign if it's military. But they've never made it clear how military this organization is or how
Yeah, right.
civilian or combination of the both.
Well,
Right.
I'm guessing it's like Star Trek because in Star Trek you can resign. Like Worf decides he wants to fight with the Klingons, so he just gives up his post,
True. Yes.
and it's not seeming to be a problem. It just happens. He just puts his badge down and he's done. And then he comes back like it's nothing later.
Well, don't they always? Of course.
So, yeah. So she's also going to see Dr. Finn because she doubles as the ship psychologist, like you mentioned earlier. And this is that whole scene where he's talking to her about that, about being brave, only being able to be brave if you're afraid. And so she calls her mother, her parents, and her dad. And we see that her mom, Dranala, is played by Molly Hagan. And Molly Hagan played the very first Vorta that we saw in Deep Space Nine in the episode called Jem'Hadar.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I recognize her from older stuff, older like 70s and 80s television.
Yeah, I didn't look up her whole IMDb. I just looked up her Star Trek.
And Robert Picardo, I'm a huge fan because of his work with Joe Dante.
Yes.
So long before Star Trek.
Yes, and of course, Alara's dad, uh, I don't know how to say his name,
Robert
Ildis,
Picard. Robert. Well, I
is played by Robert Picardo.
yes.
I don't know how to say his alien name.
Right. The character
Ildis,
name. Yeah.
Ildis. I think it's Ildis, but I don't know.
That's more than I remember, so I'll give you credit.
Yes, of course, Robert Picardo played the Doctor on Voyager, and you know him from other places. And um, and in my opinion, he absolutely stole the show in any scene he appeared in on Voyager. And her mom is sympathetic, but her dad takes the opportunity to tell her to come home to earn a degree. And we learn from here that despite being intelligent from our perspective, apparently her species is so intelligent that Alara is actually considered to be very slow by comparison. And anyway, she wants them to stop questioning her decision to be in the military.
Yes.
And thank you, Sora Poopus Cuber, for being the sound check here. I didn't realize I was muted. At least it was only for a couple minutes.
Yeah, an old Get Smart reference.
Yeah, and hello in the chat to Captain Marty Spock. And hello to Sora Poopus. Oh, wait, I already said hello to you, but he's saying hello to him. Okay, then she then switches to asking them why she's scared of fire. And her mom thinks of something. Alara's dad was at the university, and her mom was holding Alara while she was sleeping. And it was it was a kitchen fire, and they survived because Alara cried at the danger, so her mom climbed out of the window, but never told her about it because it was so upsetting for her. And Alara was just a baby and didn't think it would matter. Even after figuring that out, she sees something else that's even scarier than the fire. It's a really creepy clown. It makes a beeline for her and pushes her down, and she continues to run. And she takes chase.
Yeah, it's a good thing her species is so familiar with the human clown.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even if you didn't know what a clown was and that started running at you, wouldn't you like take
yeah,
some kind of alarm?
yeah, it would be a surprise at least. Yes, yes, I agree.
But she loses him, and Alara, having seen that clown, believes she's completely lost it. But you're right, she actually knows it by name. She knows to call it a clown, so that is interesting that she knows about him.
Yeah, and it must have taken a lot of practice to run like that in those shoes.
Wow, yeah. Those are professional clown shoes.
Oh yeah, they're the big ones. Yes.
This puts alarm into Lieutenant Lamar instantly when he hears about the clowns because he doesn't like clowns. So, because that's his fear. Give me just a moment.
Go for it. Yeah, clown seems to be the ire of a lot of people. To me, they don't bother me so much. Real bad clowns, like a certain serial killer and stuff like that, I don't find very attractive. But clowns in general, I guess I'm fortunate enough not to be too creeped out. Unless it's Ronald McDonald. I guess I have a lot of unlesses. And hello to everybody in the chat. If any of you would like to join us here on the panel, the link is in the top of the chat, I believe. If you are enjoying the stream, please click the like button and subscribe to Anti-Derivative Deals channel. Sandra Feliciano, hello and welcome. Good to see you.
Yeah, hello, Sandra. So, Captain Mercer says that usually happens when people are. Captain Mercer says usually when people are crazy, they don't know it. So, he wants to check out the security logs. And so, when they check out the security logs, they they check all the hallways and they see that the clown really was there, which is also confirmed by Isaac as being a human that was there. Bortus and Alara end up finding the clown in a cargo hold. Yeah, right. They do. And it's dark in here. They try to turn on the lights, but the lights don't work because this episode is kind of like a horror movie.
Right, they're playing the horror trope, which is
Yes.
fine.
Mhm.
And that's reminiscent of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh yeah, I saw that movie when I was a baby, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
They were
I probably
supposed to
shouldn't have
redo
been
it.
watching that.
Not when you're a little kid, maybe.
No.
But yeah, that would contribute. I can see how that would contribute to fear of the clowns among kids. But the
Mhm.
Chiodo brothers who made that movie have been trying to redo it in 3D for a while, but it's been may never happen. I guess, sadly to say, they're the same ones that did Team America.
Oh, Team America, that was funny. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, they did a lot of puppet work in Hollywood.
So, um, yeah, so then he has those things coming out. That's kind of neat looking. And then he attacks her and continues to attack her and grabs his phaser. And he gets a hold of the phaser and he puts it on kill. So it disintegrates the whatever the case here, the cargo case, and so she throws it to trip him up, and she gets the phaser and takes him down. She was hoping to get him alive, but she wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, she didn't know it was on kill.
Yeah. Yeah, she was disappointed about that. And now I need my other slide, so then we'll be on the last slide. So
Okay,
let me.
sounds good.
Yeah, I'm switching slides, guys. Switching slides. I need some switching slide videos. Or music or something.
I'll find something we can play in the meantime. And I still need to make a title for this show.
So Kelly's going to her quarters for a shower. But when she enters her quarters, she finds that her quarters are missing. She seems to be falling into abyss where her quarters used to be. Of course, this shouldn't be happening. It makes no sense from a physics perspective, so Kelly tells Ed this, and he draws the conclusion that if that's not possible, then something must be wrong with the crew. So they go to see Dr. Finn. Oh, here we're still seeing Kelly though falling into the abyss. And Alara has to save her, pull her up. So they all go to sickbay. And Bortus comes in to report that he's seen a crocodile that he's had to crush. And so, even though none of these occurrences seem to make any sense, this episode does a good job of building the mystery and suspense of it like a real horror movie does. And Alara is going to have a brain scan, but things go wrong when Alara is restrained. But she can't get out despite her strength. And Nurse Park comes in wondering why Alara is restrained, but he's discharged by a plasma weapon. And she says that she's performing surgery on Alara. And Alara is finally able to. Oh, oh turn. So,
There's
so it looks
mommy's
like
alarm.
they're. That's my alarm to get out of here. But I'm not doing that yet.
Well, if you
I
need to
gotta
go at
watch
any
Claire.
time, let us know because
I
we
gotta
all
watch
understand.
Claire
Okay,
do surgery. So,
I'm gonna let you talk. Go for it.
yeah. Let's see if we can do this. No. So, Lara's able to break free and toss Dr. Finn across the room and get help from Bortus. And so Claire being in Brig is kind of funny, and it's really neat seeing this actor break out of her character.
There's that scar on her wrist again. I noticed that in the last episode, or when she was with Yapet.
Yeah.
It's like a ring that goes around her wrist. I don't know what it is.
Is that? Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. Um, and it's even weirder because she also says something kind of profound, like something like the real Q might say. She says, "Do you ever sit in your quarters and look out the window? Do you ever stop and watch the darkness out there? It's very, very dark in space. Looks so empty. But there are terrors lurking all around us in the infinite shadows. You can't see them, but they're there." And so she does a really great job of delivering that line and being kind of creepy about it.
Right, it does, and it makes it more confusing for us, the audience, because we're trying to scramble on where is all this coming from.
Yeah, right. What is happening to Claire?
Right. So it's good they're keeping ahead of us so far.
Yeah, right. They succeeded in fooling me when I first watched this. So Isaac can't detect the vortex in Commander Grayson's room, and they can't find an explanation. So Gordon wonders if they might have died in the plasma storm, and everything is weird because they're in purgatory. And that leads Kelly to ask about the storm and if it could have an effect. And they're interrupted by tarantulas, so that's the next scary thing that happens. And the
Yeah,
actors,
I thought it was interesting during the tarantula scene. Isaac was just in a bigger hurry to get out of there as they were. You think he wouldn't be as afraid, but
right?
oh
You
well.
think he'd just open up some kind of phaser he's got built in and start knocking him out? I
Or
don't
at the
know.
most, just sit there and be confused because they can't bite him and
Uh-huh.
he knows it. But
Right.
that wouldn't. There's no time in that for the plot, so I understand the way they did it, like they did.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's just following. I figured he's just following. They're just doing it because they're doing it.
Yes.
And it turns out that Adrian Palicki and Seth MacFarlane actually are afraid of spiders. So they
Me
actually had,
too.
oh yeah, there's at least one live spider that was in that room. Of course, the rest were generated.
Yeah, probably the one on the table was probably the real one. But yeah, I do
Uh-huh.
not like spiders. I won't even eat crab or shrimp.
But Scott Grimes likes them, so he was laughing about it.
Well, I know a tarantula is relatively harmless, but no thanks.
Yeah. Well, especially the ones that are working show business, they
Right,
probably have their fangs
and there's
cut.
and that's probably a real one there.
Yeah. Yeah, a real one. He says you can feel the belly, the the fur on his belly.
Yeah, I
And
heard they're very delicate. If they drop like a foot onto a hard surface, they'll pop.
oh wow. And so they all leave the room and Ed grabs a weapon, but when they come back the spiders are all gone.
Yep, and there's Isaac running. I don't think we see him running too much in this series.
No. Oh, in this episode we do.
Oh yes, in this episode, yes.
So all this does is convince them that they need to go back to the storm, but before they do, they need to fortify the deflectors according uh, to change the plasma charge's frequency. So Laura and Gordon encounter a giant spider. They can't shoot it, so they end up having to run away. And the spider flips Gordon over and eats him. And we see that here in a little bit here.
Yeah, I really appreciate the effects. They look good. They don't look cheap for a TV show.
No, that looks like a real giant spider running through the hallways. Eating, eating Gordon. So I guess watching this episode for the first time, you're like, Gordon's dead?
Right. So this we're like, okay, so one of the characters can actually die.
Yeah. So Laura makes it back to the bridge. Uh, to find that they're back to the plasma storm, but the bridge crew is missing. Now, this one would be a wonderful screensaver.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
The storm hits, taking out power, so she's all alone walking around the ship with a flashlight. She finds Isaac, and they need to modify the deflectors. But then Isaac messes up, mentioning the creature that Alara didn't tell him about. So now she knows everything has been done by Isaac, and they fight, and she eventually wins. Uh, uh, wins. But here she's still just looking. The fight hasn't even started yet because there's just a lot of. This episode is better watched than told. So you guys just gotta go watch it.
Right, a lot of action people, not a lot of talking heads.
Yeah, a lot of action. So at first they're just working together, trying to figure out the problem. But now they're fighting, and oh, I gotta mute it for a second here.
Everybody, Jill's having trouble with her allergies, so she's having trouble trying to talk and breathe at the same time. Give her a few seconds, she'll be right back.
Oh yeah. I just need a moment.
This is an episode too that I thought that was, as a kid, I would have been really well. I did enjoy it, but this is where you see the two people aboard the ship that are supposedly have super strength going at each other. So this was very cool to see this.
Yes, and we also see this this new weapon, um, this bigger plasma gun.
Yeah, which reminds me of an upcoming scene here.
And
She tells him that this can vaporize even you.
oh yeah,
I have to mute for a second. Go ahead.
okay. And she does end up having to shoot him, but he is he's still okay. And so this is the part of the episode where they finally find out the audience finally finds out that she's in a simulation. And in it, she's been overworking
Okay.
herself trying to face all of her fears. And here's Isaac trying to stop her.
Yes.
She makes it on she makes it onto a shuttlecraft, but Isaac starts a fire in the shuttle bay. Alara has to get through it, and she does. And she finds out that she put herself into this simulation. Oh, let me see this happen. I don't want to see that happening. No. Okay. But at least at that point, you know it's a simulation, so it
Yes.
doesn't have the effect of making you sad that the Orville's destroyed. You know it's
True.
not real.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm glad they didn't do that to us. Slip sliding away, clown aside. And Captain Marty Spock says 50 ways to leave your clown. And I Love Food says, a simulation? It was a skit. Yeah.
Definitely another good episode of Solid. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Or sorry,
Yes,
or
I love this episode.
A.
Yeah.
I would give it
This,
an A.
yeah. Well, I give all the episodes A. I only give the last one a B plus because it was just a joke of an episode, which is all right. It was good. It
Yes.
succeeded in that.
Yeah, definitely enjoy them both.
Hmm. Yeah. And she put herself through that simulation to find out if she had any other fears besides the fire that she could overcome. She had the memory of it being a simulation erased so that the fears that she had to face would seem real. And we
Right.
find out all the fears of the crew.
Right. Apparently, they wiped her memory to give her the advantage of not knowing what happened and why she was there. But what she didn't know and they didn't know is she used her security clearance to put a password on that so they couldn't get into it. That's why they weren't able to stop the
Oh
hologram
yeah,
or
that
whatever
reminds
they
me.
call it.
Yeah, she did the and she
That's why
did the directive.
right. She did an override where they could not break it, and they said she has to finish it.
Yeah, the directive 38 that allows the security chief to override clearance just in case something bad happens to the captain.
Yes.
So she apparently wasn't supposed to use it this way.
Correct.
but I guess she doesn't remember why she did it. She gets away with it. And we find out that Lamar is afraid of clowns. Dr. Finn hates heights, which we knew about in the bioship episode. And Gordon is scared of surgery. Captain Mercer is afraid of spiders, and in which his actor also is, we found out. And Grayson fears being alone. And Bortus is afraid of losing to someone who's stronger than he is. And he's embarrassed by revealing this, so he's just like, he just leaves.
Right.
So, what did you think of this episode, Pop Culture Curator? What were your
I enjoyed
favorite?
it highly. Enjoyed it. It's another one that upon second viewing, I enjoyed it all the more. A really strong episode. It just
Yeah,
makes me think how sad it is. It's what this is what Star Trek could have been.
right. Yeah, because Seth asked to have Star Trek. He asked uh, CBS if he could run Star Trek.
Right. We got
They turned him
Kurtzman
down.
instead.
Yeah, no, we could have had Seth MacFarlane and all the people from the Orville working on Star Trek. We could have had Brian Fuller also, since he was dealing with it, and we would have had Nicholas Meyer. We would have had the whole gang back together. I mean, I'm sure with all that power going behind him, we could have even gotten Ronald D. Moore to show up if he
I'm sure
saw
would
the
have.
party was
Yes.
back together.
Well, look at now
Uh,
in the current Star Trek and Picard, and they're talking about bringing the TNG cast back. That I think all they're doing is ruining their characters. They're ruining everyone's memories. I don't think it's a good idea that they come back under those circumstances.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think so either. Yeah, especially with the writing they have right now for Star Trek isn't so good.
Right? It's getting to
It's
the point. Getting to the point where nobody wants to even go back and watch the Next Generation because of what they've done to Picard, and now what
I
they've done to everyone else, and that they've done to Q, and they
I
even
I,
demasculated Q in the last episode. It's
I
like,
think that
geez.
it is insulting to soap opera writers to call it soap opera writing, because that's how bad it is. It's even worse than that.
And yeah, I agree there. Yes.
So I want to thank everybody here who was here. Thank you to I Love Food. You provided some great comments today. And thank you to Captain Marty Spock for showing up and having breakfast with us. I don't know if you've even had your coffee yet. And so I'll share that. Oh, wait, I'll share it in the thing over here. And so usually Captain Marty Spock will stream a little bit after this 9 o'clock his time. And thank you, Snortopoopas Cuber, for being here. I always love all your comments. You're very funny, Bear. And thank you to Sandra Feliciano for being here. And also Cavatino. Oh, and I didn't see this comment by Captain Marty Spock. What is Ruin Johnson doing on a Star Trek show? I'm confused. Oh, the clown. The clown is Ruin Johnson. Okay, that's cute. So then let's go back up here. Nerdpro Lifeform also has a channel. So I'll find that here. I know I should get Stream Element Spot working so I could just cycle through whoever shows up. But I just haven't done that yet.
That's a good idea.
Oh no, I don't have his here. So I'll have to grab it. And we'll be doing this again next week.
All right, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, next week we finish off season 1. Um, so
Very cool.
yeah. So I'm glad that we have more Orville to look forward to, because hearing anything more about what's happened to Star Trek and what it could have been just is so sad.
Yes, and thank you to the chat for joining us, everybody out there. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
And,
All thanks to all the lurkers too. If
yeah,
I
the
had
lurkers.
any.
Yep, we appreciate if you're here. We appreciate you.
Yes.
And like I said, if you liked the stream, please click the like button.
And OSPDY says, I have never watched this show. We'll have to start checking it out some point. Yes, you should. It's really fantastic.
Absolutely, I second that.
And I think I said goodbye to Cavatino. I'll have to check later if I'm pronouncing that right. And goodbye to J25. And thank you so much for checking us out. I love food. Hope to see you again next time. And thank you for popping in, Tim's Talk. That was cool. So cool to see you guys here. I know I have Tim in here. Yeah, I do. Tim's Talk is a great channel. He'll talk about whatever pop culture is fresh on his mind. Whatever he's really into, he'll talk about Star Wars and Batman and even Harry Potter too sometimes. And Jedi Bill, thank you for being here. If I know you're probably not around anymore, but thank you for showing up, and I'll throw your channel too. I know you're working on 700 subs right now, right? Oops, that's wrong.
Oh, I think Bill surpassed 850, didn't he?
850. Oh, wait, he's working on 900 subs then.
Yeah, Bill's doing really well, everybody.
Okay. Jeez, when did that happen? I feel like every time I look, he gets another 100 subs.
Seriously, Mr. Really Popular.
Yeah, go, everybody loves Bill.
Show up on his karaoke streams. You'll meet a lot of people there.
Yeah, and I think that's everybody.
Cool.
And let's see, where am I? Closed it. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episodes. But remember, what's even better than my reviews is to go out and go watch the Orville yourself.
Support the show. Hopefully we'll get another season and watch season 3 when it comes out. I think we'll be happy with it. It'll be exciting to see how the new format looks.
Yeah. And next week we'll have the episodes 11 and 12, New Dimensions and Mad Idolatry. And I can't wait. Have a great day, everyone. And I'm going to play this interview that I really like. So I hope it's okay that I play this. I think it is. It should be fine.
I'm Mark Jackson. I play Isaac on the Orville.
Hey, now it's Peter Macon.
I forgot to also say, have a great day, everyone. See you guys next time. And after this video, I'll stop the show.
Thank you.
And I play Bortus.
Scott Grimes. I play Gordon.
My name is Gordon. I play Jay Lee.
Nope, that's not how it is.
No, I'm Jay Lee. I play Gordon. No, I'm Jay Lee.
This earlier.
Shit. I'm Jay Lee. I play John Lamar.
Who?
Exactly.
Who that?
I am. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I play him sometimes.
Gordon, I play Seth MacFarlane.
I feel like you all have a little bit of second name.
Whoa!
Oh,
whoa.
Is that the wrong thing to say?
No, I think probably at this point.
Yeah.
It's some. Well, what does that mean?
Wow.
You're talking about like the humor, and I always say that Seth writes these words down and hires people that can say them like he would, and I think you're right about that. We all have that same kind of humor and mouth.
Jocularity.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with that.
Raillery.
He rubs off on you, I guess.
Rubs off.
Yeah.
Rubs off. Yeah.
Okay. He rubs off on you.
No, I mean not like that.
Just wanted to see what that was, if it was onomatopoetic.
That kind of
Yeah.
stuff is going to get you into trouble.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm already in
I'm
trouble.
just
I
saying.
stay in
but
trouble.
we all like each other, so
I can tell.
Yeah.
One of the things we love about the Orville is the vibe of the crew. Has that changed? Because obviously you guys have had a really stop-start season. You
Oh, yeah.
finally finished filming.
yeah.
So what was it like doing it this time, season 3? Was the vibe any different on set?
It was different only because how long it took because of the break, but it's also like riding a bike. It felt like once you get back on that set, once you get back in the costume, it just feels like that's our ship, that's our job. You know, being on the Orville just feels like I said, like riding a bike.
And season 3 was like a big deal because the set was revamped, like the costumes were revamped. There was a whole kind of like buzz about it, and which you'll see when you watch it because it's like 10 movies you're going to get. They're very, very high finish, you know, epic, and you know that kind of sensation was on the set for all of us. I thought, yeah. Sweeping.
Sweeping, Peter says.
Sweep the leg.
What are the differences, right? Because you guys have moved on to the streamers. What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to have like raunchy stuff?
There's a lot of cussing.
I think we tried to not take advantage of that. I know Seth did, but also what Seth wanted is the extra 11, 12 minutes that you can have that you don't have commercials, and he could have done an hour and a half episode if he wanted. And that was important for him to tell what his entire story of that hour that he wanted. He could go hour and 12 minutes or he can go less. It wasn't a set thing he had to write to, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't think we got too crazy.
No.
Maybe a little bit of language here and there, but
No, I mean, I think
nothing crazy.
we stayed in the pocket because I think that would have changed the tone of the show. Like, I mean, you know, there's a couple of butt cracks, and I think that's all you need. You know what I mean? You don't need a whole like filth, floor, and filth. You know.
Yeah. Right.
I like the idea of measuring raunchiness instead of, you know, oh, it's R or PG. How many butt cracks? Yeah, that's good.
I feel like we're about 3 butt cracks right now. Yeah.
Out of for 10 hours worth of, you know.
So yeah,
That's pretty good.
3.5.
3.5 ass cracks. Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, it is essentially a family show, which is great because a whole family can sit down and watch it together. Which I remember Seth saying, you know, if you can make a show like that, it's perfect because it's so applicable to so many people. You know, which is
I
great.
mean, there were a couple times like watching a couple of episodes where you're watching.
the mic. That means this is going to be a long.
No. Let's hold on the bottom. No, but watching it as family show, but watching it like say the episode where Bortus develops a porn addiction. Watching that with my mother made me feel like I was 13. So, you know, it is a family show. So I think that there is, you know, like parameters that we stay inside of. But like we just get more material, which is great. It's like 60 minutes. So
I loved watching it with your mother. I'll be honest
yeah,
with you.
I know
So,
she
different
missed. She said that.
experience.
Yeah,
Totally different. I'm in trouble later because he's being nice.
you know the house. So that's all.
I love the tone of the show because it is pretty unique. And there was a lot of discussion about the tone of the show. It created a kind of Marmite situation with critics.
Mm.
Is that the right reference to use? I mean, polarizing. It was
Yeah.
very polarizing. You know
What
what I mean?
do Americans know what Marmite is?
I do.
Oh, you do.
I don't. What's Marmite?
It's like Vegemite, but not. It's made from.
It's
instead of
a-
yeast, it's made from.
It's a yeast spread which you eat.
Why?
Sound nice?
Why would you do that?
I like it.
Why do people have to? Do you have to do this?
You do if you come to the UK. I'm going to make you eat it if you come to the UK.
Yeah.
But yes, I think you are right, particularly with the first season. The critics didn't really know what they were looking at, and I think the show didn't really know what it was yet in the first season.
Yeah.
The second season, it kind of understood more, and then with this third season, it feels like it really knows what it is.
Yeah. I think we found a groove
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
You're the crew.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yep.
Dancing, musical talent. You guys have got a lot of that in your wheelhouse. We're going to see some of that on screen.
I don't know.
Critics got singing.
Are we going to see some of that on the screen this season?
That's not me, by the way. Every show I do tends to go, you know, and they just tend to put what people can do in it, right? And so, like, I could sing, so they did that. Peter can't, so they did that. Sorry. I'm kidding. You
Yeah,
can.
it goes so.
No, I got 2 against me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see some singing and some dancing.
Dancing
You
and a whole
danced
lot
this
of-
year in it or something?
I do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say I love it.
One of your talents is getting your top off, which I've noticed.
Well, I might have. I don't know. I might have my shirt off. I might not. We don't know yet. It might.
Don't ask me to do that. That's weird.
I'll ask you. Can you do that for me later?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that tonight.
As long
But
as
I
you
like it.
protect me from Peter, sure.
No, I'm not sure it's gonna.
I love it. I love seeing everybody's talent. It makes seriously. It makes me very excited when I see people in their bag. I like to say in your light. When you see people doing their thing, shining, it's for
Seth
me.
is really good at figuring out what someone can do, including in the writing. Like my lines are like you can't swap my lines and Jay Lee's lines or my lines and Mark and Peter's lines. He writes for the specific thing that he thinks you can do best, whether it's comedy or drama or the middle and telling the story, whatever. That's what he's really good at. And also, obviously, seeing what people can do and exploiting it.
And taking the no.
Well, you have to do.
You got
They're
it.
in
Good job.
specific
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you loved was the love among the crew. Also, there was a bit of romance. You had Leighton Meester coming in. That was an
Oh, yeah.
episode. And we all wanted to see Gordon get a little bit of romance. Do you feel like it's a bit lonely?
Yeah.
Jamie,
Yeah.
nothing's really happened for him on the romance side.
Everything has happened for him.
Yeah, I've had a couple.
Yeah.
I've had a couple dates.
State.
I've had a couple dates on the ship. I'll say that. Yeah.
It's quite hard to remember what we have filmed and what has been shown and what hasn't been shown because it's
True.
so long. So we need to be careful, boys.
I forgot. Yeah. I think. Yeah. No. I was about to say I had a person. That's terrible. I had a date.
But yeah, but I think what we're thinking of is you have maybe something coming up also.
I don't know. I forgot.
You get quite a lot of attention, don't you? I think that's John Lamar.
He's a smart guy.
He gets attention
He's a smart guy.
because he's so smart.
He did it. He does everybody's homework.
He's so smart and very good at taking his top off.
Yeah. You know what? You use what you got. Yeah.
And what about Isaac?
Oh.
What's happening with
Isaac. Well, no one likes Isaac
No one likes Mark.
at the start of season 3.
Everybody likes. Well, no.
No, nobody likes Isaac for obvious reasons, or not so obvious. If you know, because I like him and I can see where he's coming from, but
Claire likes
nobody likes Isaac at the end of season 2.
It's such a dope thing Seth set up though, right? And to see what happens with Isaac this season is kind of dope.
I mean, I will say this: Isaac has an incredible arc this season. It's just brilliant. It's been a gift to do that. I've been very lucky, and
so hard not to talk about.
I
it.
know.
For us, if you knew what we were talking about, it's big.
For sure. Yeah.
Let's talk about it in like expression.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, he also does that when he's hungry.
I do.
Yeah. That's how we know when it's time to go to lunch. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're all a little bit we're not in fear of getting sued or in trouble, but like we know Seth's reaction to anybody that maybe gives something away, having posted pictures through the season that he's like deep in the background, there's an insignia. If you really go like that in that I don't want anybody to know, you're like, oh crap, I didn't realize that. So
No, I think we're good though. We haven't said anything.
right.
But we're good.
I know, but
We're good.
I am like I get
Cautious.
a little conscious and scared.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's been like 3 years
Yeah.
filming, and we're like, I just can't remember what's out there and what's not.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch seasons 1 and 2
Yeah.
And the stuff that we shot is so good.
with your mum.
Yeah. I'll send her to you in London. But the stuff that we shot is so good that I don't want to give any. It's like Christmas. Like I know what I got you for Christmas, and I'm gonna tell you because I just want you to be so surprised because it's the shenanigans and the hijinks. You know, there's so much that it'll be treat. That looks.
And we're so sorry it's going to take so long until you actually get to see it. But it's March.
March is coming up.
It's gonna be here before we know it.
What's that?
10th.
3 months?
Yeah.
3 months.
Oh shit!
And then the previews are gonna have a bunch of little sneak. Yeah. We're good.
You guys are excited.
Oh yeah. We've seen some of it, but I try not to watch all of it because I want to watch it when it comes out. But it looks unbelievable. Yeah.
And what do you guys do then when you finally finish filming? What you can talk about? Did you have a rap party?
We didn't.
We didn't get to really do that. Nah,
We kind of did something at Seth's. Remember we had this dinner.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was kind of
We had an informal small thing, but
Yeah.
no, we couldn't have a rap party because of COVID. So
But I'm sure we'll do something for the launch of it.
the launch,
Yeah.
think we'll be able to do something.
We'll just pull up to Seth's house.
Right.
Yeah.
We're just like.
And it was time. I mean, there was, as much as you love working on something, we didn't do this show per episode, right? We in a day we could do 3 different episodes, 3 different shots, and that's what it just became. So you were just always at work. You were always working the last months of this. So I was happy for the break, but now I want to go back and do season 4.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get back on the bridge.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, not the bridge, no, engineering.
At the bridge. Whoa.
And do you have any idea about what's happening with that? Are you still are there still plans in place that you're going to carry on?
I think we'd all like to, but
I mean, I don't think it's over.
no.
No
Look,
one's
if this,
thinking
if
it's
this
over.
season does amazing on Hulu,
Yeah.
and the reaction is
will.
great, there's your answer right there. I think Seth would love to do it again. I would love to do it again, and that's all you need, just me and Seth.
Yeah.
Are you not talking about a spin-off? We'll leave these guys.
Sure.
We'll see.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
later
we'll
on.
figure that out.
Private interview.
In the finale, we saw you with Ed, kind of in the alternate timeline, basically.
Oh, that's right.
Kind of
Oh, yeah.
Survive.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to know is you get the master synthesizer and you make Twinkies.
Yep.
That is the one thing you want to
That is inherently Seth MacFarlane's humor. You think you got this thing, you want a steak, nope, a Twinkie, and then the joke is, I go, a Twinkie? Or he goes, a Twinkie? You're getting a Twinkie? I'm like, yeah, I wanted a Twinkie. Do you want half? He goes, yeah, I want half. That's Seth MacFarlane for me.
I want a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so then I got to ask, what if you had your sort of last meal, master synthesizer, make anything, what would you do?
I might just get a big bowl of Lucky Charms.
Wow, it'd have to be my mum's lamb chops.
I got it.
Absada. No.
That's good.
I don't know.
Mine would
I
be
don't
his
eat-
mom's lamb chops.
No.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
had them.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Have you guys had Lucky Charms? I feel like you just shit on my answer. Lucky Charms are great.
Do you eat all of the brown ones first, and then like you said?
Nah, I need all of them. I need about 2 marshmallows, and you know what? I don't want to talk to y'all.
Marshmallows to the end.
Sweet milk.
Yep.
What
No,
would
I
you
do
eat?
like lobster, man. I do.
Lobster.
Yeah. I'm from
Fuck
back
him.
east.
All right.
I don't know what that means.
What would you have?
Do you know what? My mum's lentils and rice and chicken.
I want that.
Oh.
I want that instead.
The question is, would it be our mum's? Because if some machine made it, right?
Oh, well, you could, yeah.
Way to end on a low note, Mark.
Jesus, man.
Way to take it down.
I'm British. That's what I do.
We were like, yeah. Well,
Everyone's too upbeat in this country.
Yeah.
Like, bring it down.
what would you love to eat for your last meal? My mom's favorite dish.
Yeah.
But didn't your mom pass away 25 centuries ago? Oh man, I guess I don't want that anymore.
You're right. Yeah.
All right.
I hope she's alive when she. Hot, man. Sorry.
Okay.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you for talking to
We
us.
gave
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Not
we gave you
giving away
more.
anything.
Yeah.
Loads of fun. Yeah. That's great.
You're the best.
But
Thank you.
Seth will be very appreciative of that.
Right on. And we're on Disney Plus in the UK now, right?
Plus in the UK. Yeah.
Right on.
All across Europe, I'm thinking probably. So,
Yeah. All
It's
right.
amazing. People are finally saying to me, "Oh, I'm watching the Orville." After 5 years.
That must be kind of cool for you, though.
It is. It's nice. Yeah. Disney Plus. Great. Watch it.